In the northern part of the industrial city of Onega, shrouded in smoke and smog, stood an old tank factory, Black Iron. It was not an ordinary factory. Black shadows, constantly twisting in the corners, were a reminder of its grim history. Decades ago, the factory was run by an eccentric director, fond of occultism and mysticism. He asserted the existence of a tank hell, a place where all the destroyed and forgotten tanks rise from the dead and wage an endless battle. The director was convinced that he could open a portal to this world. Over time, this factory became known for its unique tanks. Dark, gloomy machines that rolled off its assembly line seemed to live a life of their own. Soldiers claimed that the tanks were capable of feeling like living beings. Some even charged into battle without requiring a driver. One day, the director disappeared without a trace. It was said that he had looked too deeply into the dark corners of his subconscious and managed to open a portal to tank hell. Some claim to have seen him being consumed by a shadow that arose from beneath the tracks of the last manufactured tank. Since then, the factory has become restless. Strange noises and rumbling from the corners became louder and louder, as if tanks were battling in the distance. It became clear that the darkness invoked by the director remained there, lying in wait, biding its time. Today, Black Iron still produces tanks, and although no one dares to lead them into battle, for no one knows what dark force controls them, these tanks serve as a reminder of how far a person can go when exploring the dark corners of their subconscious. Meanwhile, rumors began to circulate about a figure seen wandering the factory grounds late at night. Some of the workers reported glimpses of a shadowy figure beneath the dim factory lights, a figure that moved with an eerie familiarity. The stories were always the same: a silhouette, slipping between tanks, disappearing before they could get a closer look. One evening, a courageous worker dared to stay late, determined to uncover the truth of these stories. His flashlight cut through the thick darkness, reflecting off the monstrous tanks that loomed in silence. As he ventured deeper into the factory, the mechanical hum of dormant machinery was replaced by a strange resonance, a low, pulsating throb, like the heartbeat of the factory itself. Suddenly, the factory sprung to life. Tanks started to move on their own, their heavy treads grinding against the concrete floor. The roar of engines filled the air, accompanied by the sickening screech of metal. His flashlight flickered and went out, and in that fleeting moment of darkness, he saw it. The factory's massive screen flickered to life, revealing a haunting, spectral figure, the lost director. His form was ethereal, flickering and wavering as though seen through a heat haze. The director's spectral gaze held an unholy light, promising truths found only in the darkest corners of one's mind. He gestured to the tanks, each one now humming with an unnatural, almost demonic energy. The man fled, horror etched into his face. Yet even as he ran, he couldn't shake the dire warnings implied by the phantom director's gesturing. The Black Iron factory was no longer just producing tanks. It was birthing entities of darkness, physical embodiments of the shadowy corners of the subconscious. This was the true legacy of the lost director's obsession, the terrifying realization of his vision of a tank hell. Today, the workers at the Black Iron factory maintain a respectful silence about the nightly happenings. They perform their duties in the daylight, but as dusk falls, they leave quickly, leaving the factory to its ghostly overseer. And each night, the darkened factory rumbles to life, the flickering specter of its former director ensuring that the production of these haunted machines continues. A chilling reminder of the darkest corners of our minds.